The first episode of the What Hustle channel, where we ride, we hustle, we repeat. What's going on, Wild family? Sorry for being a little late. I'm having a really horrible day when it comes to technology. My main camera's not working, but nonetheless, we are here. Bob, welcome back, my brother.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me, first of all, a big congratulations again.
Thank you.
For those guys that don't know, Bob recently got married. So let me turn this off over here. So how was the wedding, buddy?
It was amazing. We had a blast.
Good. Now you stayed locally, right?
Yeah, we actually got married across the street. No, we could have literally walked across to the venue because there's another apartment complex over there that actually has a big like catering facility underneath that they can have everything. And we've had many family functions there. So we just said, hey, can we do it? They said, absolutely.
Nice.
We had about just under 100 people, and they can hold 200, so it was perfect.
Very nice, very nice. And
I actually put the service. I did one of our family members recorded it on their phone, and I got it from them this weekend, and I just uploaded it right to YouTube. So it's actually on my channel, the whole service, and it's great because I'm not going to give away too much, but our pastor is a good friend of ours, and we call him Pastor Cool J now.
Really?
Because he came down when he was over here talking about everything. He's like, what do you want me to do? And I said, I want you to have fun. I don't want it to be a stuffy wedding where everybody's sitting there. I said, if you want to wear a pimp hat and a cane, then you do that. So he took me literal, and he had the big coat and the hat and the cane. He walked down with his wife to Snoop. Drop it like it's hot. That's how he was introduced. And nobody had any clue this was going to happen. And
very nice.
Knew that was it. And after, like, that set the whole tone, and everybody had fun.
Good. I'm glad you guys had a blast.
Yep.
And right now, because did it get warmed up, or is it still super cold over there?
It is at the moment 24 degrees.
Wow. It was cold here. I mean, nothing compared to you guys, but for it got into the 30s, and for South Floridians,
that's cold.
Yeah, we don't know how to behave in that kind of weather.
Yeah.
It was not good. But it's back to normal. We're in our 70s, so it's good to go.
I felt like I was living in Chicago with Eddie.
Yeah.
Over the last weekend and the week before. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Nice. So let's get right into it. I want to talk about, since you're from Jersey.
Yes.
And you ride e-bikes.
Yes.
First of all, brief us a little bit of what happened in Jersey in terms of your new e-bike law.
Yeah. So first, I agree with you 100% that you should always be an advocate if you are invested in it. Like we are. We're both invested in the scene. It's part of our life. It's not just a bike we have. It's actually part of our life. I didn't know anything about this law, anything. And all of a sudden, I see Berm Peak, I think, did a video on his channel. He's got like 2 million subscribers saying that this law might go through. And 2 days later, on the last day in office, Governor Murphy signed it into law because everybody just said this is never going to be a law. Essentially what he did, the Cliff Notes is, he removed the class system from bikes. So this bike here, which is a cargo bike right behind me, is the same as a mobility trike or the same as a Suron.
Wow.
They're all the same. And you now have to have them registered, insured, you have to have a license, and you have to have a DOT approved helmet. So that's why I put this helmet right here, because this is a helmet similar to something you would wear.
Right.
You know, normal helmet, no longer legal.
And that's because it's not DOT?
Not DOT. It's a bike helmet.
Wow.
And this is a MIPS. This is a MIPS
Yeah.
e-bike helmet, which
Yeah.
isn't, it's not cheap. I mean, it's not super expensive, but it's not cheap. This one back here, this is a Cali full-faced mountain bike helmet, e-mountain bike. This is like a $300 helmet. Not legal.
That's it.
This, yeah, I had all my props ready.
Good, good.
This is what you have to wear. This is a Fox Racing full motorcycle helmet because it has DOT right here. If it doesn't have that, you can't use it. This helmet is heavy. It's like 6 pounds compared to those helmets are normal, what you would expect on a bike helmet. So this is for somebody, if you've ever ridden a motorcycle, that's what this is. That's just part of it.
Now, let me ask you, because before we get going deeper into it,
Sure.
If what's the penalty? It's an infraction? Is it a criminal violation?
The first thing they have is a $50 penalty, like a $50 ticket right off the bat. If it's any type of violation where you're actually moving, which is going to be 99% of them, it's points on your license.
Whoa!
Not your bike license, your car license.
Yes.
So it impacts your car insurance. They didn't think these things through.
No, listen.
Not only that, you're no longer allowed to ride on any trails. So all of the rail trails and the greenways and all, no motorized vehicles allowed. There's signs everywhere. These are now classified as motorized vehicles.
Dude, it's insanity. But continue. So you got.
So I'm going to go through the whole process,
right?
And I'll tell you at the end what we're going to end up doing. But I'm going to go through the whole process for right now. And the first thing you have to do is you have to get the insurance, because if you don't have the insurance, you can't get registered. Now we have until July before it actually takes effect. They give you a grace period. The problem is right now that there's, I think, 2 insurance companies that will insure in New Jersey, and I've never heard of either of them. So how reputable are they?
Right.
I got the price for one. The second one I didn't get. I'll give you the pricing in a minute. So if you are getting insurance, so you get lucky, then you have to go get it registered. Now, this is just like anything with a car or a motorcycle. You have to have a VIN, and you have to have proof of ownership in order to get registered. Well, your receipt is not proof of ownership. Proof of ownership with an e-bike is what's called an MCO, which is what they give the company that imports it into the country, because it proves you paid the tariffs. The bike companies are not obligated by law to give that to you. In fact, they won't give it to you 99% of the time, because then they can't prove they paid the tariff. So I contacted, our bikes were all Aventins, and I contacted Aventin, and they sent us, and we printed out, I have 3 different bikes, 3 different ones. And I believe it's a official copy of what is on the MCO. Half of it's in Chinese, so I don't know. I'm hoping that's enough, but I really won't know. And I bet you when I go to motor vehicle, they don't know.
Well, let me stop you real quick, because I don't know, this guy at Electric Adventure Channel, he's saying that it was signed in Jersey.
No, it's law. It's already law. January 19th.
That's what I thought. It was
2 days after my wedding. That's how I'm going to remember it.
Yeah. I because I looked into it, and it's law.
Yeah, it's law in New Jersey. New Hampshire, they had one that they're actually, the guy who created the bill in New Hampshire based off of New Jersey's, he did not, they actually twisted it, and he said he won't even vote for it because they were impacting pedal bikes.
Yes. Well, New Hampshire's is a little bit different, because what they're trying to implement in New Hampshire is not reclassifying them, but but that even
tax.
pedal bikes, right,
Yeah.
a tax that you have to register
Right.
every bike.
Right. And he didn't want that. He basically wanted the same thing the guys in New Jersey wanted initially. Because what I guess I should have started with, the reason why this came up in New Jersey is a 13-year-old kid was killed in North Jersey riding a Sur-Ron. He was hit by a landscaping car or vehicle. And that's tragic and should never happen. You should always feel horrible for the parents and the family, even for the person who hit him, because they didn't intend to hit him.
Right, right.
And the problem is that bike was already illegal.
Right.
So now what they're
That's
essentially
what blows
doing,
my mind.
what they're essentially doing is they're making that bike legal now. Because if you go and you get your license plate and your insurance and your registration, you can go ride that on the street now. And it says for off-road use only, but under the classification and the law, you're allowed to ride it. And that's where there's so many gray areas. They have to go back and relook at this. But there's no pressure on them to do it because the masses are loving this because of all the kids ripping around the town on their little e-bikes. Now they think all of a sudden they're going to disappear. Well, the reality of it is, unless you're in an area where the cops have nothing else to do and actually want to enforce it, they're not going to get rid of all those kids. Those kids are just going to race away and come back again when the cops are gone. And people like me, Misty, who can barely walk right now, we want our bikes. We need them for getting around and doing things. We're going to have to pay. So I guess that's the next part.
Yeah, so I'm going to stop you there because I really want to touch on that because that's what I am so livid with what happened in Jersey and what some of these people are talking about. And what I've been doing, and I'm hoping those watching, and I'm hoping others do the same, is to be very proactive, right? Because Florida attempted to pass not a similar bill to you guys. But Florida, this I was going to say a bad name for this lady, but this legislator from Pinellas County, which is the west coast of Florida, she's the one pushing for this new e-bike law in Florida. Thankfully, it passed committee, but there's 3 stages here in Florida. It passed committee, but when it went to the second committee, they pushed it down for further studies. So we have a reprieve for at least a year on this. And what they're mandating is that the Florida Highway Patrol conduct collect data on e-bike accidents, right? And then they're going to touch this up in the next legislative cycle in terms of whether or not whatever these numbers tell them, right? But my going back to my biggest pet peeve here, and that is the following. Number one, Florida currently has e-bike laws, right? They're not being enforced. So what the heck makes you think that adding a new law is going to make things better? That's number one. And then number two, my biggest problem is that you're not going to affect the people that are causing the problem to begin with. They're going to continue to do it whether there's a law or not. You are 1,000% affecting the law-abiding citizens, the ones like you that follow the law regardless. You're not going out there doing wheelies. You're not going out there doing all this craziness on your bike, but you need it, right? It's a necessity for you. And not just you, but more importantly, those individuals that they're either elderly, like I'm going to go back to Pinellas County. Pinellas County has a huge retirement community, and they have a lot of e-bikes, which is, in my opinion, phenomenal because it gets these older people out doing something outside, right?
Right.
But this stupid law is what's going to do is going to hurt those people because these retired people, they don't have the necessary funds to insure a bike and to go ahead and register the bike and pay those fees because most of them live on fixed incomes, right? And that's just that segment of the population. Here in Broward County, I work with a rehab group, and And most of these people have lost their license because of their addiction, right? And the only way they can get a job, the only way they can move around is through an e-bike. And
For the
if this,
transportation. Yeah.
right, because they don't have a license. So requiring someone to register it, and some of the laws require you to have a license. I think Jersey, if it's a certain, you have to have,
yep.
You gotta have a license.
If you're 15 or 16, you have to have it's a new special license for the e-bikes, more or less. I forget what they're calling it, motorized bike or some, whatever they're calling it. Then as soon as you turn 17, you have to have a driver's license. If your driver's license is suspended, you can't ride.
Yeah, like I said, what it kills me, they're not going to hurt me. If I have to register my bike, if I have to pay to get insurance, I have the money and the means to do it. But they're 1,000% going to hurt those that politicians, especially liberal politicians like the ones in Jersey, pretend to be their guardian angel. Bro, it just drives me insane. And unfortunately, again, I'm going to say fortunately for me, but unfortunately for you, I live in Florida. Florida is not a liberal state. We don't believe in all this social justice that you see in all over the place. So a lot of this stuff gets bedded down, right? Now, Pinellas County, one of the most liberal counties in Florida, this is why this lady put out the stupid bill. Fortunately, again, they're like, nah, we need to study it more. That can't be it. And interesting enough, I just went to a fundraiser this past weekend. There's a place down here called Flamingo Gardens, and they rehab wild animals like panthers and etc. Right, and birds and all that. They'll rehab them, and then once they're rehabbed, they put them back in the wild. They have an annual fundraiser. I just went to that, and it just so happened to be that the table I was sitting at was my representative. And boy, we talked for hours, and it showed how ignorant politicians are, because he didn't know the difference between an e-moto and an e-bike. And he's like, no, but I see these people, they're racing. I'm like, okay, tell me, what are you saying? And he goes, well, I'll show you, because they had a picture. It was a Surrey. I'm like, sir, all due respect, that's not an e-bike.
No, and they don't even call them that.
No.
If you look on their website, there's nowhere does it mention e-bike.
Yeah, it's again, this is why I say we as e-bike owners, we need to be advocates. We need to go out there, write our legislation. I mean, I've been sending emails on a daily freaking basis almost. And not just to my legislators here in Florida, but I've been writing to New Hampshire, because that's one of the places they're looking to change their laws. Illinois is looking to do the same. I've been writing and educating the difference between an e-bike and an e-moto. You want to go ahead and reclassify the e-moto and make that a electric motorcycle, by all means do so, right? But
I think all they really needed to do is enforce the existing stuff.
Yes.
Yes. If you're riding in a street, it's just like everybody. The argument is, if you have a car that does 100 miles an hour, is that illegal? No. You pull them over when they go more than 55 or whatever the speed limit is. If they're driving stupid, you pull them over. If a kid's riding stupid, you pull them over. Yeah. Most of the small towns, these cops know the families.
Yes.
They could go and wait for them at the house. They don't even have to follow them. They know who it is. They can go right there and wait for them at the house. But there was one thing I saw that was yesterday, the day before, and the e-bikes over 50, I think it is. It's a Facebook group that I'm in, and it actually made me tear up, because this woman who lives in New Jersey, she does a nonprofit where she does fundraisers, and then she buys mobility trikes, like the electric, the Velotrek, all the different trikes you find. And she takes them and she gives them to families that have autistic children, like older autistic children that are nonverbal. They could never pass a test, but they can ride a bike fine. And it said that she had to stop fundraisers and refund money because I think she has one in March, and she does one every month. And she's giving away something like 12 or 15 of these trikes that are like $1,500 a piece. And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do, because like she did this because she lost her son, who was also autistic. So she was trying to do something to give to other families. And I'm like, that hurt when I read that. I'm like, wow, this person just got screwed. And sure, that's one person. I get it. You're going to say maybe this saves lives. Who knows? But there's got to be a happy medium. There's got to be some common ground that they can work it out.
Yeah, I mean, but right now for you guys, it's going to take a lot for them to go back. But this guy, Michael Rosaldo, listen, you're the one that I'm advocating for, right? You need it. You need that to get to work, right? And you can't get a license. I hope people like you would go ahead and start sending emails to the legislators and say, hey, man, you're supposed to be helping me, not hurting me. You know, I can't get to work now because you're requiring X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, it's just sad what's happening in Jersey and some of these other places across the country.
Did you see Scott's latest bike talk where he had Mike Rochester and Matt from Electric All Wheel on? They were talking about this. And one of the things that I think it was, all three of them actually said it, that they would actually pay to have their governor come to their house and educate them and take them out and let them ride the different bikes and explain it to them so they understood it. And I don't think that we should have to, as any content creator, now how big or small, should have to pay to do that. But the fact that they're willing to just shows you how much, like how big this is. Yeah,
and it's funny that you said that because I did see that. But Matt, it's his area that's pushing for this.
Really?
It's his area.
And that's got to kill him because I know he loves the speed.
Yes, it is. It is the people within because Pinellas County is in the Tampa area.
Okay.
And it is those people that are pushing for these stupid e-bike laws, because nowhere else in Florida do we see people pushing for e-bike laws. It's just idiotic. It's frustrating. And again, we're here, and I'm not talking, I'm going to take myself out of the equation because, again, I have the means to do this stuff. But people like Mike, people like that autistic you're talking about, the elderly, there's huge portion of the population, especially in places like Florida, in which e-bike is their only option for transportation, and now you're going to make it more difficult for them, and here's the interesting part, because Jersey, is one of the states that are crying about, voter ID. You're going to tell me that you don't need an ID or a driver's license to vote, but now you're going to need an ID or a driver's license to ride an e-bike. It makes no sense to me, man. It just makes no sense. But talk about your experience now trying to get insurance, because this blew my mind too.
So before I do that, I gotta correct you on one thing. You're saying you have the means to do it. You don't. The money isn't the important part. Right now, there is no way to legally register the bikes because you have to have an etched VIN. There is no bike on the market that has an engraved VIN. You're lucky if they have a sticker on them.
Right.
And so that's one of the requirements. They have to actually change that. They're going to have to amend that because right now, as the law is written, nobody on the planet can register a bike in any state because that doesn't exist. I think the only company that might have it is that company in Connecticut. I think it's Spark Cycle, that everything's made in-house.
Yeah, Spark Cycle.
They build it to be a motorcycle because that's a different project, and you're talking $5,000 to $6,000 bikes that are handmade.
Right.
So we're not counting them. Everyone else can't do it. But I contacted both insurance companies that were listed, and I don't want to give the names out because I don't feel comfortable recommending them to anybody right now because I don't know anything about them. but one responded back and I got an official quote. So if I wanted to, I can get the insurance. In order to get the insurance on my Abound LR, which I rated value at $2,200 because it's a $2,000 bike, and then I put a couple of things on it.
Right.
So I put it at $2,200. It's $238 a year. Not the end of the world, but it is a lot of money.
It's a lot, dude. That's a lot of money for some people.
Oh yeah, but I mean, that's not the part that really blew my mind. The part that blew my mind is that Misty and I were actually looking to get gas scooters this year, like your Honda ADV or your Suzuki. I was looking at the Bergman, which is a 400cc scooter that weighs almost 500 pounds and will do almost 100 miles an hour. For the Bergman through Progressive, they're reputable. Everybody knows Progressive. $155 a year.
What?
$80 cheaper a year.
Oh my God. Yeah, that.
And she just yelled from the other room, and it's 4 times as fast.
That's freaking. Yeah, it's cheaper to get insurance for that, and you can't, that's asinine.
We are going to have to think long and hard on what we want to do, because we both wanted to get them anyway. And if I have to spend $600 to insure 3 bikes, I don't know that I'm going to do it.
Yeah, man.
I just don't. I mean, we have time. I'm going to get all the information. And when I eventually do go, I'm going to, like when I go to DMV, I'm going to record it. Even if I can't record, I'll have it so it's facing me, so I can at least document it. And even if I can't put that recording on YouTube, I'll have it to listen to so I can transcribe if I need to. But yeah, it's scary to think that even if this quote is high and it's the $100 a year, that's this year.
Right.
What happens next year? Right now, it's $8 a year for the registration fee, but the first year is waived. So what is it in 3 years?
Yeah, it's listen. Somebody said, I think Mike said it, or Electric Adventure said it. But number one, I think this is a big money grab. You know, definitely what's happening in New Hampshire is a money grab. You know, that's insanity. You got to register even a bike. I mean, that's and I forget. I think it is New Hampshire. You know, it's a big university town. You know how many bikes get transferred? You know, only in certain. New Hampshire's very rural. Yeah,
but they have a couple of like little hubs that have a lot of people. But I mean, it impacts me in another personal level, because my nephew, who lives a mile away, he's 11 years old, and he has 3 e-bikes and a gas bike. He has a gas dirt bike, he has an e-moto, and he has an e-bike that he can ride on the street, and he has a little chopper like looking e-bike. He got his first one about 2 years ago. He doesn't even know how to ride a pedal bike. He never learned. He rides with his father. Now he can't ride at all because he's only 11.
Yep.
He can only ride in his backyard. That's it. Because the law states under 15, no longer allowed to ride it. That's all your freshmen in high school.
Yep.
Think of it that way. All your freshmen in high school, no longer allowed to ride it.
Can't go to school. I mean, I didn't even go there. I mean, I didn't even think about that, because you're right. You have
in my town, depending on which side of the highway you live on, like for the high school, if you live on the same side of the highway as the high school, which is the majority, there's no bus. So they can't ride their e-bikes to school now.
That is crazy. What else is tell me a little bit more about besides the insurance, what else is going to make this really difficult to, first of all, is it even enforceable? That's another question.
Well, the way I look at it in our town, it's not a small town, but it's not one of the larger cities. And our town's probably like maybe 6 square miles, but it's got a lot of people here. Like the high school has 800 kids, to give you an idea. But we're only from one high school to the next town over high school is only 4 miles. And that's the same size. So it's going to be the same. They're all putting on each police department's putting their Facebook post up saying these are the new laws. So they're all seeing it. I think that they're going to get so much pressure from the families that don't have kids with bikes to enforce it. And I think they're actually going to, whether it's bring on extra people, have guys on, like cops on Surons, I don't know. But I think they're going to feel so much pressure that they're going to have to enforce it, even if it's only for periods of time. You know, initially when it happens, maybe for a first month, they go out and they're banging all the kids. Nope. Because they can impound your bike on the spot too. And then you have to pay an impound fee, which is a couple $100s to get back. So, and if they catch you, if you're 17, you just got your license, but you're out riding your Suron, and you know how it is with insurance when you're young anyway, and you're on your mom and dad's insurance. So now their insurance is already higher because you're on it, and you get pulled over for doing a wheelie down the street. There you go. There's more points on your license.
Electric Adventure, you're 100% right. One of the major culprits are these group rides, and this is for me, number one, dumbass parents, right? Not supervising their kids, and Surons, man. You know, there's absolutely no reason why you should be buying your 11, 12, 13-year-old kid a Suron.
I'll go less further.
Unless you're like I have a property in Georgia, unless you live in a very rural area and you're on private land, by all means, but you're allowing, and parents are allowing these kids to go on these massive group rides, and they're acting a fool. I mean, common sense. I would never let my kid, it's old now, but when my son was 15, 16, and he would tell me, hey, I'm going to go on a group ride. Hell no, you're not going on an old group ride. They're dangerous to begin with.
What I fear is going to happen is you're going to see, in New Jersey anyway, you're going to have Camden, which is near Philadelphia.
Right.
And you're going to have, I don't know all the cities up near North Jersey, near New York City, but you're going to have an influx of people who come across the bridge or go vice versa, either way. Because now if you say you live in Philadelphia and you do want to ride over to see somebody in New Jersey, because you can ride over the bridge. We did it in one of the videos. Now, does that mean you're going to get hit if they decide to pull you over? You know, and vice versa. If you have a bike here, but you want to ride to only go into the city, well, technically you still have that registered. Like the video that Berm just did yesterday, the day before, I watched it. He had a great point that I didn't even think about. Because so far I was only thinking about riding on public roads and you can't do the trails anymore. But if you have an e-mountain bike, you now have to have it registered, licensed, and you have to have a mirror on the side, has to have headlights and taillights, which e-mountain bikes don't have, even if it never touches a public road. So just you put it on the back of your car, you ride to the mountain bike trail, you go on your trail ride, you still have to have it registered and insured.
That's nuts.
And you have to have license plates on them. The license plates, he just used the motorcycle one for reference because he said he hasn't seen it personally. I think it's 4x6 or something like that.
Wait a second. I got no Electric Adventure. You're telling me that some cop watched the video and gave cop watched his video and gave him a fine from a video. What if that's true? And I believe you're telling me the truth. That guy that received that citation, and take it from me because I'm prior law enforcement. That guy better go to court because you cannot.
That one.
Yeah, because you cannot. And I'm gonna say this again. An officer cannot write a citation or cannot write or any type of misdemeanor violation without it occurring in his presence. Now, the only caveat is these speeding cameras, right? A speeding camera and or red light camera, but those are infractions that were made specifically for that type of enforcement. But they're not moving violations, right? to get us, and again, to give a citation based on a video, number one, you got to determine jurisdiction. So, and I don't know how you can determine jurisdiction based on a video.
Excuse me, Mike Rosato. People for Bike are actually one of the biggest advocates against this right now.
Yeah.
They're actually, so that I just saw them do a whole big thing that they're 100% against this and they're trying to petition it.
Yeah, because they know they're next. That's why.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are now seeing it because, like I said, this came in under the radar. Nobody even knew about it.
Oh man. Well, in your case, you're right because I it's my understanding that he did this like it was a last minute deal.
It was the last day as he was leaving office. He signed it. And it all came together apparently in less than a month because the kid was killed. And like I said, horrible that the kid was killed. But I mean, you're impacting millions now. And
I always said that, you know, especially in liberal states, they always want to blame an instrument, right? Either a gun, in this case, an e-bike for you know, for something, right? They never want to blame an individual. Never. It's never an individual's fault. It's somebody else's fault, right? So, I mean, I have a big problem when we don't take personal responsibility because I guarantee you, in the case of that child getting killed, which is sad to say, you know, sad that it happened. He didn't get killed because he was doing nothing, you know.
Probably right. Yeah.
So there, you know, again, I don't know the details of that particular case.
I didn't either. I heard that that's why it all went down. And I did a quick research and looked, and yeah, he was killed by a landscaping vehicle, and it was in North Jersey.
Yeah, I would, like I said, you know, they want to blame something. You know, a tragedy happened, and especially a politician that doesn't let a crisis go to waste. They want us. Oh, that we can write a law. Let's write a law because we want to, again, you know. And the problem is that we have allowed that to happen. And I say we as a society, we freely give up our rights in the name of safety.
So I have two comments here. Electric Adventure. It's not going to get changed. It's not going to get revoked because the masses are in favor of it. The people who don't ride bikes, which outnumber the people who do 10 to 1, they love this, but they don't know the harm it's causing. And to Mike, New York City implemented a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, but that's actually, if you watch a lot of the people who ride there, they kind of agree with it. Some people don't, but it's because the heavy pedestrian traffic, like in downtown and whatnot, and they basically just, they were getting a lot of people hitting because it wasn't even the people on the bikes or the scooters' fault. It was people just walking through bike lanes.
Yeah, and to clarify, that 15-mile-per-hour law they have, that's only for the bike lane. If you are in the bike lane,
yes.
If you're in the bike lane, then you have to, and I agree with that. You know,
like if you jump, you can't go, like, you know how people, and sometimes I still do it. You'll kind of cruise through a red light. You'll slow down. You'll look. There's nothing there. And
you can't do that.
You can't do that now.
Yeah.
You'll actually get a ticket.
Yeah. That's the same thing here in Florida. You know, you have to obey traffic laws, whether you're on a bike. Even pedestrians have to obey. Here in Florida, even a pedestrian they have to obey traffic laws, or they get a ticket, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I interviewed JB360, who's from New York.
He's a big modder, right?
Yeah.
That was the other thing. When you're done, I have to tell you. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I know you're going to tell me about mods, but bring it up because I want people to hear it. But even JB360, when that law came into place, they actually stopped several cops in the city, and the cops told them, "Hey, don't go 15. Don't stay. Don't get on the bike lane. If you're on the street, don't go 15 miles an hour because it only applies to the bike lane."
Right.
And they're right. You shouldn't be going 5, 10 miles an hour, or even 15 miles an hour in New York City on a regular street because you're gonna get run the fuck over.
Yeah.
So tell me what you're gonna say about mods.
Okay, so first, before the mods, the other thing that they did is there's no online sales for 1 year in New Jersey.
Oh yes, yes.
So if I wanted to sell this on Facebook Marketplace, I can't. And if I do, I can get a penalty for it. You can't go on, and I haven't tried this yet myself, but supposedly you can't go on a bike site, and if you put in the delivery addresses in New Jersey, you're not supposed to be able to buy it. Just like Mike was doing in Scott's video, there where he couldn't buy stuff in New York because certain sales of certain kinds of bike are banned in New York. There's a 1 year online bike sale ban in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I bought mine in November.
Yeah, you got yours in time, bro. Because
well, yeah, but now I'm saying, yeah, I got it in time, but I still haven't even ridden it, and I'm not sure that I'm going to. So it's like, damn, maybe I should have waited. And the other thing when you're saying when it mods is you're no longer allowed to mod your bike in any way that does anything to change the performance, meaning speed or range.
Yep.
So you would not be happy.
I would not, because I mod all my bikes. Now yeah. I only increase the speed on one bike, but almost all of them
I put batteries, or you put a second battery.
I put a second battery on my bikes to go.
My A2's in the other room, my Venture 2. Matt Electric All Wheel, he actually makes a kit that if I want, I can just hook up another battery to it and get 40 amp hours.
Yeah.
And not anymore.
Yeah, like I said, New Jersey went,
off the deep end.
Yes, I mean the politicians in Jersey are already they're missing screws already, but this law is like way out there.
Yeah, but what he did when he left office, this wasn't the only law he did. He released like 10 or 12 people out of prison that had been one person had 99 years for setting their children on fire, and he released them.
Yeah, that blows my mind. But yet he wants to give you a ticket or take your bike away.
Yeah, so like that's why I said, while I agree that a lot of people are going to fight this and everything, this isn't the law that's going to get overwritten. At least not this year. It's going to be something else, like the one where he released all those people. The biggest thing I had, if they were to ask me, what would you do for a law? I'm fine with the registration, but there's got to be an easy way to do it. So they got to work with either the manufacturers or the companies, whatever. There's got to be an easy way to do it. Cap it at a certain amount of money, like a percentage of the value of the bike. 1% of the value of the bike, 2%. So it's never going to go to $50 for registration.
Yeah, see, I'm not okay with any of that shit.
No, but there's a reason why. See, but there's a big if. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them even saying you have to have some form of insurance on it to some level. But I want to see that insurance be through the state, because I want all of that money to go to the infrastructure.
Listen, that would never happen, bro.
Exactly.
That would never, ever happen. Wait, I want to read. Lorena, bring this question from this. What is it? I can't read it real good. That one, yes. What are you guys thinking about some of these newer guys coming out with 72 boat bikes like the Escape and the Rabbit e-bikes?
Wouldn't make a difference here.
Yeah, it would. Exactly. It doesn't make, as it relates to this law, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, now, it's a motorcycle.
And now your question is, do you think we can trust them? Expand on that. Trust them in what way?
Like how? I see what you're saying, because I don't know the brands.
Yeah.
So
the brands, if you're asking about are the brands reliable or reputable, yes, Escape is. And Rabbit, they're brand new. I don't, when I say they're brand new, they just got in the game.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to you because I don't know anything about either of them.
Yeah, so, but I will say this, the Rabbit e-bike, the Escape e-bike, they're almost the same e-bike. And I could almost guarantee you they're getting the same components from the same Chinese manufacturer in China.
OEM. Yep.
So the bike themselves, because I had this conversation, or we had a little bit of a debate with and I forget who it was having this debate with me about U.S. made bikes versus Chinese bikes. They're like, I'll never buy a Chinese bike. I'm like, guess what? If you have an e-bike, you have a Chinese e-bike. Because even US, because there's no US company making these components. None.
No, because I think electric is the closest thing you can get to a mainstream American company, but they don't make anything in-house.
No, and most of their components do come from China. So that,
well, we keep saying China now, but I think a lot of stuff got moved to Vietnam to get around the import tariffs and all.
Yeah, but not yet. I mean,
like Aventon is almost exclusively Vietnam. I think Levi said electric was too, and they're the big ones. They're the
big ones. But that just happened. So there's no way that the bikes that are manufactured or in the market today came from the parts came from Taiwan. I don't think so. Or Vietnam, I mean
Vietnam.
Yeah,
they moved their factories 3 years ago. They moved before Trump came into office.
Really?
Yeah. Because they said they saw the writing on the wall that the cost was going to go up to bring them in. So they wanted options. They opened up factories there. And then once the tariffs hit, they closed the ones in China.
Either way, they're not U.S. made. So.
No, I agree with you. You're 100% right. But whoever had that argument with you just either wasn't educated or wanted to argue.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, they're offering.
Mike Rosado, I agree. Class 1 and 2 should be left alone. You want to take class 3 and put something like a restriction on it? Hey, I don't agree with it, but that's
no. And here's another thing, because about speed, right? Because I've heard a lot of people, when they talk about e-bikes, they talk about speed, right? First of all, the majority of e-bikes are the fastest they're going to go is 28 miles an hour, and that's the majority being made, right? And I will say this, because I just did the Florida coast to coast ride on the coast to coast trail. I starts on the East Coast, go to the West Coast, right? Most of it is on trails. And I did it on a Sunday. And I can tell you that I was on my e-bike and I was doing the speed limit, which is 15 miles an hour, but not a single guy on a regular pedal bike was doing 15 miles an hour.
They were all going faster.
Much faster. And I had several groups that were doing at least 25, 30 miles an hour on the trail, and they were on pedal bikes. So when people start to tell me about speed, I'm telling you, shut the hell up, because I know when I used to ride professionally, I averaged 30, 35 miles an hour on my bike. And
when we did that ride over in Philadelphia, when we did the organized ride in Philadelphia, everybody saw our e-bikes and like, oh my God, you guys are going to be so fast. Man, they were flying past us on the street bikes and everything, the regular road bikes. We were doing, I think our average mile per hour for that entire 20-mile ride was like 12 miles an hour. And there was guys doing that whole 20-mile ride in 30 minutes. They were flying because they were like you were. They were, I'll quote unquote, professional riders who had, their $3,000 road bike that weighed 8 pounds.
Hold on a second. Let me answer this question. I was wondering about the reliability. Yeah. So in terms of the company itself, for example, with Rabbit, Ranger, different story. I think they've been around for a little bit. I've actually been to where they manufacture or they put their bikes together. They're pretty reputable. Rabbit, not so much. I mean, like I said, they're brand new, so I'm not too. I don't even know where exactly they're putting these bikes together. But in terms of the bike itself, I think if you get one, you're not going to go wrong with the bike itself. I think
it was Escape. Is that the name?
Escape Ranger. Yeah.
I'm going to look at it.
Yeah.
I want to look at it.
Yeah. Escape Ranger.
Like you said, I'm not familiar with it.
It's a great bike. The Escape Ranger is a phenomenal bike. I personally don't like it because I personally won't get it because I'm not a big fan of step over bikes and they don't do a step through.
I don't like that big battery that's just there in the middle. It's a pet peeve.
Yeah.
To me, I like if you just took that off, that bike looks clean. Like I'm looking at it right on their website. It's a red bike.
Yeah.
That bike looks really clean.
I'm not too upset with that, but I hear what you're saying when you slap a battery on there. but there are a lot of bikes like the Seeker 24, the older models. That's how they were built. Today you see some building the down tube and all that, but you'll still, I prefer to have a battery in that position than to have one in the rear rack. Because
I don't like that either. No.
Yeah, so I kind of prefer that. If I can get Escape to pick up the phone. Yeah, listen, I will say this as well to their defense. Almost all of these bikes, even bikes that you may think are big, really operate in small skeleton crews. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of companies that before I got into this, I thought were pretty big companies, and they're not. Goat Power Bikes. For me, I love that brand. I love what they do. I mean, I love everything about Goat Power Bikes. But they and you would think they have it's a big company. It's not. So if they have 5 full-time employees is a lot. And they contract a lot. So the guy, Brian, runs their marketing team. He also answers everything on the website, which is funny to me. He's like their customer service as well. He's a contract employee for Goat Power Bikes. So to Ranger and or Escape's defense, it's tough to get these guys on the phone because they're busy, they're small.
They're doing like 10 things.
Yeah, another company that when I first, if you go to the website, you think they're huge, which is Furious or Fab. If you're in Canada, they're called Fabulous. But the U.S. market, it's Furious Bikes, which is the EMX, and they have so many different bikes. You would think that it's a big company, and it's not. Lempro, there's 2 brothers that run it, and they may have 1 or 2 other employees, but it's just a handful of people working there. Let me see what else you said here.
You mentioned that the battery in the metal is better for weight distribution.
Yeah.
I like the battery in the middle. I just want the battery to be in the down tube. When you have that, it just looks like an afterthought. It's a pet peeve. It's not anything functional. It's just like, what? If you took that and you know how like some like the Goat, you can have like the panels on the sides. Like put the battery in the middle. If you did that on that same bike and I didn't see that, perfect. But when I see that, I'm like,
and you're not the only one. I forgot. I interviewed somebody and they said the same thing.
Peeve. It is. It's a personal thing.
Who did I interview and said that same thing to me? Because I was talking about the Puja PU3 Hazer. Jay Hazer. He hates that. He hates that. We're going to wrap up here real quick, but let me see if we can catch up on some of these.
I have one. While you're doing that, I have a question for everybody in the chat. And don't say anything, Fernando. I want everybody to put down what they think is a Class 3 e-bike, what the requirements are.
All of these guys know that.
Let's find out. Let's see. Let's see if anybody gets it right or wrong. Let's see.
Just feels after 50 there should be no restrictions, period. Listen, there should be no freaking restrictions regardless of age except minors, right? If you're a minor, you should be supervised by your parents, and you shouldn't be riding a Goat Power Bike. You shouldn't be riding a Suron.
I would honestly say that I agree with you 99% of the time. That I look at my nephew who's 11 and his e-bike does 45, but he's not out there ripping in the streets. There
you go. Like I said, I am a 100% libertarian. And if you don't know what a libertarian is, it's a person that believes that government should only do 2 things: control the military and protect us, and work on infrastructure. It shouldn't have no other role in our life, period. I think, yeah. She said the same thing. The battery in the center improves handling, which I 100% agree.
Yeah, mine are all in down tubes though, so you don't see it.
Right. Let me go on. Class 2 should be left alone. Yeah, I think we're all caught up here.
Yeah.
We should be. All right, Bob, leave us with some words of wisdom.
Well, first off, she's correct. Class 3,
I told you she knew.
No throttle. Most people don't know that part.
Oh, the no throttle. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Right.
So that's where I was waiting to see if anybody actually knew that. I'm very good. I'm glad you knew that. No, so like, I guess all I really have to say is we'll see what happens. I mean, I'd love to tell you this is exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to bring everybody along for the ride. I mean, I'm going to be in touch with you all the time. I love the fact that we can hop on here and have the discussion and get everybody involved. And you're right. You need to get people. Then you fit right in. E-bike nerd, you fit right in.
Yeah, welcome to the family, girl. Welcome to the family.
So you follow his channel, follow mine, and I'm kind of stuck because one of the things I really want to do this year, we talked about it. I made the separate channel so I can keep my dashing separate because I had a lot of people who liked that, but I had people who liked the other stuff. I really wanted to do like more adventuring. We wanted to go to a couple go away for the weekend campgrounds. We wanted to do our different rides in Philly and DC and Boston. I would love to go up to Canada. I would love to go all different places. That's really going to hurt me if I decide, no, I can't ride my bikes all the time. Or which bike do I insure?
Right.
So we got to spend some time really think about it because I was literally I wanted to have it by the end of February, a roadmap for what I wanted to do from spring all the way to November. Each month I wanted to try to go somewhere. We're going to Hawaii for our honeymoon in May. I was going to do a trip there because the kids are both there and they both have the same bikes we do. So we were just going to steal their bikes for the day. There's a lot of things that it's just up in the air and I don't want to commit, and it sucks because that's what it's my mental sanity that's going to suffer. Man,
you and a lot of other people. But guys, thank you for hopping on here. Greatly appreciated. Again, just like Bob said, subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to this one if you're not subscribed. I'm going to be on here, and Bob's going to be a guest multiple times. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., I'm going to go live. We'll discuss a multitude of topics, but greatly appreciate it. I want to give one quick shout out because I forgot to do it in the beginning, and it's a shout out to Turbo. You know who he is, Bob, but for those that don't know, he is an e-bike dasher out of Chicago, and I'm giving him a shout out because he's a man of his word. He committed to a challenge, didn't hit the numbers or didn't accomplish the goal that he wanted to accomplish. And as a result, his penalty was to eat some super hot wings. The man did it. Again, do me a favor. If you're interested in that type of content, go check out his channel. His name is Turbo. What's it?
Turbo Montana.
Turbo Montana. Yeah.
I got to watch his video about the challenge. I know the challenge. I got to watch the penalty. Yeah,
he had the penalty. He just posted the video. But big shout out to him. Also, since he was on here, big shout out to my boy Keen DoorDash. Love you, brother. Can't wait to see you when you come down to Miami. Anyway, my beautiful people, really, really appreciate you guys coming on. And I think your name is Abby. I'm assuming your name is Abby. Love you, girl. Thank you for hopping on and making this conversation interesting. Mike and Electric Adventure. Love you guys. See you guys on the next one. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.